This is the 100-day countdown to the release of my 100th song. Every 10 days, I'll break down a song from my earlier albums, highlighting the story behind it and some of the recording features. With 90 days left, I'm revisiting my second album, which is entitled Reborn and Figuring It Out. Let's consider the first track on this album, called Fire and Wind. On November 20th, 1996, I was a senior in high school, and I had just put my trust in Jesus as Lord and Savior, believing He is God, that He died on the cross for my sins and arose from the dead. That day, everything changed, including my songwriting. I wanted to write songs about my relationship with Jesus, but I was still learning and wrestling along the way. In fact, I still am. But it didn't take long for me to connect with other students in our church's youth group and form a band. We called ourselves MFW, which meant My Father's Will. We played praise songs for the youth group and wrote a bunch of our own songs, and Fire and Wind was one of the songs that we performed for the youth group a few times. It's a song about having people in your life to encourage you in your faith. In the years to come, I became kind of embarrassed by the cheesiness of the lyrics, but now that I'm older, I appreciate where I was in my journey at that time, both in faith and in music. As for the recording, I was still working with the same limited tools and instruments as my last album, but I was playing around a lot more with GarageBand's pads and synth sounds. This song, it's just 4 chords actually, repeated throughout, and MFW played it as a soft palm mute in the verses, and then just banged out these big power strums in the chorus in order to add some dynamics. In the recording, besides using some of these same techniques, I also played with evolving guitar effects to add more variety to the sound and progression of the song. Let's check it out. Before we start the actual song, I just took the acoustic guitar out, stripped it of the effects so you could hear the progression. It begins with single strums, which it also returns to that in the chorus, but a little louder. And then I start doing a little bit of accents here or there with things, just to start bringing in the verse. When the verse begins, it becomes more of a strumming pattern. And we used to have the whole band kind of kick in at that point. Right before the chorus, the verse gets really loud, and I'm kind of yelling out the last of the verses. And then it goes into these power strums again and the big accents on the drums. So how did I do this for recording? Well, I started with a pad, and I had this little creepy pad in the background, and then I added this effect. It's just a couple of strings, but added this world's smallest amp effect to the guitar. And then with the original acoustic guitar, I added all kinds of chorus, so it would really ring out. Then I repeat the same thing I was doing on the smallest amp, but with a lot more distortion and reverb. Now the verses have begun, and I'm doubling what I'm strumming on the acoustic guitar here with the electric, and it's just kind of swelling and filling in the background. You bring in the bass to that to give it some punch, and that background cosmic accent pad and the drums, and now it's really starting to feel like it's driving, and it's got some variation to it. It's building up as I'm singing. And so here's the last build-up of the verse leading into the chorus. But I added a little bit of guitar again, same thing that was at the beginning, brought it back in, going into the chorus. And that was a little weird to work out without a real drummer. But with the GarageBand virtual drummer, it works out nicely to break these into little parts for the accents. And that's basically the new version of Fire and Wind. I invite you to look up Fire and Wind by Chris Bordeaux from the album Reborn and Figuring It Out. It's available wherever you stream music, including here on YouTube on my page under Releases.